Hi, welcome to Nina in the Kitchen, where today I am making a cookie that I like to make around Christmas time, but it's so delicious. I don't know why I don't do it all the time. They're called snowballs. They are called Mexican wedding cakes, and I've seen them as Russian tea cookies, so whatever you want to call them, you have to make this very simple, very delicious. So here are the ingredients. I have 2 sticks of softened, unsalted butter, that's 226 grams, along with 2 cups of flour, 260 grams on that, 2 cups of walnuts. You can use pecans, you can use almonds, they're all delicious. That's 226 grams, 2 cups, 3/4 of a teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/3 cup of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, and then later on we are going to use lots of confectioner's sugar to roll these in to make them look like snowballs. I have a great technique for chopping these nuts. Some of the nut pieces you want to be really fine so that they permeate the cookie, sort of like a pecan sandy, if you ever have eaten those. And then you want other pieces to be bigger so that you get a crunch. And you can do that many ways. You can throw it in a food processor. You can put them in a plastic bag and hit them with a rolling pin. I just thought this was a clever thing to do, so I thought I'd show it to you. What you do is you get 2 knives, about the same size. They don't have to be exact. And you put them together, and now this forms a channel. And then you just chop. And what happens is this channel keeps the nuts right where you want them instead of flying all over the place. I like the look of that. So here you see we have some bigger pieces, and then there are some that are very fine down here. I also want you to note that behind me I have 2 prepared sheet pans, so we're ready to go. All that I'm going to do is put the salt together with the flour, and back in the old days, you used to sift. I don't like cleaning sieves and sifters, so I just take a whisk. You whisk it up, this aerates it and it gets rid of all the big lumps, and that's all that you need for a cookie. I'm going to cream the butter. This is a technique that is really very important, and there's not enough emphasis put on it, I think. To cream butter, what you're doing is you're putting some sort of sugar, sometimes it's brown sugar. In this case today, we're just using plain old granulated sugar. Put the sugar in with the butter, very simple. This gets beaten on high speed until the butter is no longer yellow, but instead it's almost white. What you're doing when you cream butter is you are taking those tiny little sugar granules and you're forcing it to go into the butter, and it creates these tiny little micro air holes, creating like an insulation. And you will get a better bake, and you'll even get more cookies because you're fluffing that butter out and extending the dough. So instead of your cookies just being flat and boring, they'll have a little puff to them. You'll get a better bake. It's really pretty amazing. So this can happen, depending on your mixer, anywhere from 7 minutes to 4 minutes. This will go on high speed. I'll scrape it down about every minute or so, and this on my machine will take about 3 or 4 minutes. And here's how you know that your creaming process is finished. This is a very pale yellow now, more like a chiffon yellow color. Take a fingerful, you can still feel a little bit of grit in between your fingers, and that means that the sugar has completely permeated this butter. So we're ready to move on. And as you can see, it's nice and light and fluffy. The next step is just to mix in the vanilla. So that's in there, just stir it in. I've blended the vanilla in and just beat it for about 30 seconds, just on a medium speed, just to mix it in there. Put your flour in. You don't have to do it a little bit at a time. For this particular recipe, it works fine if you just dump the whole thing in. And the reason is all that you need to do is moisten this flour. You don't want to keep it going for very long, because as soon as you do this, as soon as you run this mixer, you're going to start developing the gluten in the flour. If you keep working it, you're going to get a tough cookie. So dump it in all at once. Just put it on stir. Hopefully I don't get a face full of flour, but just put it on stir and just wait for it to come together. And that's it. That took about 15 seconds. And now the nuts go in. And again, you just stir this until the nuts are incorporated. And we're there. That's it. I'm not going to do any more than that. And one last scrape of the bowl just to make sure that there's no hidden pockets of flour or something, but that looks perfect. Okay, so now it's just a matter of portioning this out. This is about 3/4 of an ounce, 24 grams for each one of these. And that's kind of on the large side. Now, I'm a lazy baker. I buy a scoop, I scoop it out, I'm done. But what you can do is just take a piece of this dough, roll it out, and there's your little snowball. These are so good, I can't wait for them to come out. So these are going into the oven. At this size, they're going to take about 17 minutes or so. Keep your eye on them. You don't want them to brown. As soon as you start seeing any color on them, they should come out because the residual heat will keep cooking them. If you get them brown in the oven, you're going to end up with cookies that are overbaked. So I'll see you when they come out. These just came out of the oven. This tray came out about, I'd say 2 minutes ago. And what you want to do whenever you take a cookie out is they keep cooking and they're very soft when they first come out. Just leave them for a couple of minutes, let them set up, and then you can take them and put them on the cooling rack. These cookies get a roll around in powdered sugar. You may know it as confectionery sugar or icing sugar. These cookies get 2 rolls through the sugar, once while they're warm or hot, and then the second time you want to do it after they've cooled off. And what that does is the first icing, it creates sort of a glaze and they get a little sugar bath. And then once they're cool, you put them back in and that will kind of glue all of the sugar onto the cookie so that it doesn't fall off everywhere. And I'll just continue until these are finished. Well, I've double glazed some of these and some aren't done. So I wanted to show you the difference. And also, you know, you'll read recipes where they say you only need half of a cup of powdered sugar. Not true. You need a lot of powdered sugar. So this is one that was just single glazed. This was done when it was hot. And you can see it's kind of tacky and the glaze comes off easily. This is cooled now, but with a second glazing, they end up looking more like snowballs. And you would think it'd be too much sugar, but that's been factored into the recipe because the dough itself is not very sweet. And this glaze will harden as the cookie cools. And that's it. That's the cookie. Very simple. I have to eat one. Delightful. These are so good. Oh, they're good. Anyway, very simple to go together. They make a great gift. They're great for your family, fun for friends. Enjoy this recipe. It's a good one. Thank you so much for watching. Come back for more stuff. Bye, guys.